To characterize this new epoch, new buildings must be erected. Already on the evening when he seized power, Hitler talked about his architectural plans. Hitler called the Chancellery a piddling cigar box, and architect Albert Speer's first major task was to create a new chancellery building worthy of the new state. Hitler has made the first sketches himself. The project is kept secret. Until war breaks out, Hitler devotes much of his time to the architecture of the new Germany. He heaps new sketches over Speer. And between their meetings, he painstakingly works on new ideas. The volume of this architectural vision is gargantuan. More than 40 cities are in line for monumental building projects.
Ich lege den Grundstein zum Neubau des Hauses des Fremdenverkehrs in Berlin und befehle damit zugleich den Beginn der Arbeit des Umbaus von Groß-Berlin.
On June 14, 1938, Hitler proclaims a sweeping new design for Berlin.
Und größeren Berlin, das neue und größere Deutschland einer glücklichen, geschichtlichen Zukunft entgegenzuführen.
However, the actual scope of his outsized plans for the capital city is kept secret. On the new chancellery's completion in January 1939, a myth is minted. According to the myth, Hitler has commissioned Speer only 1 year earlier to design and build the massive structure. In fact, the actual work had begun 4 years before. At about the same time he sketched plans for the new chancellery, Hitler decided to rebuild his chalet in Berchtesgaden to have it befit his new status. To this end, he not only produced sketches, but completely took over the replanning of Berghof, his retreat. The original house was to be part of the new structure. The result was amateurish. Obvious weaknesses flaw the design. An alpine chalet aspiring to be a chateau. Hitler's pride was a retractable window, the world's biggest, with an area of 32 square meters. At Berghof, the monumental is paired with the petty bourgeois in a bizarre way. The world's biggest retractable window is still a chalet window after all, a bourgeois dream absurdly inflated. The window on the landscape, like the glass over a painting, embodied Hitler's aesthetic ideal. Mountain landscapes were among his favorite motifs. At the Great German Art Exhibit in 1938, Hitler buys not only Zugspitz Massive by Franz Bernhardt, but 9 other paintings of alpine scenes. For the yearly exhibitions in the House of German Arts, Hitler's photographer Heinrich Hoffmann is now the one-man jury. On the day of the 1938 opening, Hitler rewards Hoffmann with a professorship. Hitler himself buys 372 works, 1/3 of the entire exhibition.
Seit die nationalsozialistische Bewegung nach langjährigem Kampf endlich mit der Führung des Reiches betraut wurde, sind noch nicht 6 Jahre vergangen.
In his inaugural speech, Hitler notes something of special importance to it: the acquisition of the classical Greek statue, the discus thrower, by Miron.
Die beste Darstellung des Diskuswerfers, die jahrzehntelang in römischem Privatbesitz den Augen der Öffentlichkeit verborgen war, ist jetzt in deutschem Kunstbesitz. Dieses erhabene
Hitler lets this event cap his speech as he says, "Let us perceive how splendid man's physical beauty once was, and how we may only speak of progress when we have not only achieved such success, but even surpassed it. May we find here a measure of the tasks which confront us in our time. May we strive as one for beauty and elevation, so that both our race and our art will withstand the judgment of the millennia." It was just this correlation between man and art that elevated sculpture in the Third Reich to state art of the highest rank. Sculptors like Arno Breker and Joseph Thorac were not only artists, they were creators of a new type of man. It was their task to convey an image of the goal envisioned. To attain it, the Nazis would soon resort to more concrete measures. And it is Hitler himself who sets the process in motion. In 1938, he becomes active in a case that attracts his attention: the case of a child born blind who lacks one leg and part of an arm. Hitler orders his personal physician, Karl Brandt, to intervene. The child, whose name is Knauer, is said to be an idiot. Brandt, in Hitler's name, will tell the child's doctor to perform euthanasia, that is, to kill the child. Brandt was also to inform them that any judicial measures taken against them would be, through Hitler's fiat, null and void. Later, Brandt was told to implement euthanasia in all similar cases. Euthanasia means helping someone who is suffering to die. In the context of Nazi racial policy, the term would find a new meaning. The Great German Art Exhibit of 1939. Hitler buys for himself 264 works. After annexing Austria, Hitler updates the plans for his home city, Linz. These dreams had occupied him since his youth. As early as 1925, he had sketched plans for a German national art gallery. In it, artists would be allotted space for their works, depending on Hitler's evaluation of their talent. These dreams now take on enormous proportions. Hitler's state visit to Italy in 1938, during which he inspects Italy's art treasures, fuels his plans even more. He envisions Linz as the world's new center of culture. Gigantic building plans are drawn up. Hitler makes one sketch after another. Dr. Hans Posse, chief of the Dresden Gallery, is recruited for a secret mission amassing the Linz art collection. His first act is to confiscate the art collections of Jews in Vienna. On September 1st, 1939, Germany attacks Poland. The Second World War has begun. 9 days before, Germany signed a non-aggression pact with the USSR. 2 weeks after war's outbreak, Hitler inspects a virtually vanquished Poland. A few weeks later, Hitler orders the start of the euthanasia program. Germany is to be cleansed of its failed human specimens. Hitler's friend and personal physician, Karl Brandt, and his chief of staff, Philipp Bühler, are empowered to choose physicians for the program. The order is written out on Hitler's personal stationery and backdated to the day when war broke out. The tactic indicates doubts on Hitler's part. Even in the Knauer case, he had ordered that his role be kept secret. Now he hoped that the program would be more acceptable if it could be linked with the war's outbreak. Murder of the inferiors would thus appear to be a mobilization measure. In Germany, psychiatry's ambition to preserve the body of the folk. Murder would soon be the most important form of therapy. The future laboratory for this form of therapy, the test field for extermination, was already in German hands. Poland, which had been crushed in less than a month.